today's lesson is the midpoint of an interval. So when we talk about midpoint or midway or something to do with the mid is the halfway mark. So the midpoint of an interval is the point in the middle of an interval or halfway between two given points. Let's have a look at the summary of that. To find the midpoint of an interval, joining two points A and B, because remember interval has two endpoints. So calculate the average of the x coordinates of A and B, and then calculate the average of the y coordinates of A and B. Now, what that really means is just halving it, because halfway mark, so you are going to halve it. So we are trying to halve this interval using the 2 points that will halve the interval equally. There's a formula there. Okay, so if I had 2 points A and B in interval, and A is -3 and 1, B is 4 and 5. Now -3 is the x coordinate and 1 is the y coordinate. That is my x coordinate. Pink one is my y coordinate. And same as B, that's my x, that's my y coordinate. So let's plotting them on the number plane. So A is -3 and 1. Now that's my x coordinate, so I have to look at my x-axis first. So it's -3, so therefore it's on the left-hand side from the 0. Everything starts from 0 here, going to the left by 3 because it's a -3, and going up by 1. A is right there. Point B is 4 and 5. So I'm going to go to the right by 4 from the 0 and then going up by 5. So that's where my B is. Join them together roughly. It will look like this. Now, how am I going to find the midpoint here? There's a couple of ways doing this. First one is finding an x coordinate and a y coordinate separately. I have to collect all the x coordinates. That's my x coordinate. That's my x coordinates for A and B there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add them together. It'll be -3 plus 4. If you're not confident about the negative number, just use a calculator. That's okay. But if you go backwards, it's a 4 minus 3, it's 1. You notice that we are dividing by 2 because it's average. It's halfway. So x coordinate is half. Y coordinate is the second number, which is this and this. So what I'm going to put it in, 1 plus 5. So I put all the y coordinates together, I add them together and halve it. So this one is a 6 over 2. Don't forget to simplify. So what's a half of 6? 3. So my midpoint is half. The x coordinate always comes first. And then y coordinates is 3. With this, if you don't know how to simplify, you can also use a calculator here. If you put it in using the fraction button, put 1 plus 5 over 2, it'll give you 3 automatically. But also, it's a good idea to check anyway. But having said that, I think it's very important you know how to do it without using calculator. 2 is just halving it. If number on the top, the numerator, can be halved, that's okay. But if it's a bit tricky to halve, so for example, 7 over 2, so you can just leave it as 7 over 2 if you like. But if you want to, 7 over 2, which means half of 7, which is 3.5. Think of it as a money. If you had $6 and you're sharing with the 2 people equally, how much each person should have? $3. Next, another way of doing it is using the formula. The formula is capital M for midpoint. Remember, we're halving them because it's halfway. The first one is the x coordinate. First x coordinate plus the second x coordinate. Okay, and then y coordinates for the second part. First y coordinate plus second y coordinate. And then halve it. Point A was -3, 1. point B was 4 and 5. So if I use the formula right now, capital M equals, so I'm going to put the x coordinates from each point, -3 plus 4. And then I'm going to have to put y coordinates from each point, which is 1 plus 5. Okay, and then I will get -3 plus 4, or 4 minus 3 is 1. And then 1 plus 5 is 6. I need to simplify this, rewrite this as a half and 3. And this is my midpoint of the points A and B. It might be easier actually to use a formula. Memorizing by understanding is much, much better than just memorizing the formula. So if you know midpoint is halfway, so all you have to do is collecting the x coordinates together and add them and then halve it, and then collecting all the y coordinates together and add it and halve it, and that's your midpoint. Okay, example 3. Find the midpoint of the interval joining part A. Point A is 5 minus 2, and then point B is 1 and 6. Now this one actually gave us a graph, so I'm going to find it separately. First x coordinate and the y coordinate of midpoint. Let's have a look at point A and point B. Where is my x coordinates at point A? It's 1 here. And what is my x coordinates of point B? Is 5. So what I'm going to do is 1 plus 5. By the way, you can do 5 plus 1. Doesn't really matter because you're going to add them. Adding doesn't really affect the order of it. That's going to be 6 over 2, which is 3, isn't it? Half of 6. Now, let's have a look at the y coordinates from each point. Which one is my y coordinate in the point A? Is this one, 6. And then from point B is -2. So I'm going to add them together. 6 plus -2. Okay, so that will be 6 minus 2, really. That would be 4 over 2. That's a half of 4, 2. So my midpoint, always the x coordinate first. So to be 3 and y coordinate 2. So your midpoint is 3 and 2. But let's have a look. So that's midpoint here. That's a 3 and 2. 2, and that's a 3. 3 and 2. Now, what happens if we use the formula? So I'm going to use formula here to find my midpoint of point A and B. Capital M stands for midpoint. And I'm going to set up like this so that I won't forget to divide by 2. Now I have to collect all the x coordinates from each point. They are 5 and 1. So I'm going to add them together now. 5 plus 1. Okay, now y coordinates from each point are -2 and 6. -2 plus 6. And then simplify this now. 5 plus 1 is 6. -2 plus 6. Swap them around. 6 minus 2, 4. Okay, I need to simplify this by halving them. So half of 6 is 3. Half of 4 is 2. And if you're not really confident at this stage halving or simplifying it, use your calculator. If you use calculator using that fraction button, 6 over 2, 4 over 2, it'll give you 3 and 2. I think it might be a good idea to use formula because not every question will have graph. Okay, and then if you do it separately, it might take a while. Okay, now from here on, we are going to use the formula. So formula is this, but again, you don't have to memorize exactly like this, but the concept, your understanding is very important. So let's have a look at the 2 points we're given here. Point A is -2 and 7. Point B is 4 and 0. So my midpoint, capital M, equals, let's put 2 there because that's what we have to do. X coordinates together, which is the yellow color, which is -2 plus 4. That's my x coordinates from each point. Now, y coordinates are 7 and 0. So I'm going to add them. Okay. And therefore, I'm going to simplify this. So what have I got? Minus 2 plus 4. Swap them. We're going backwards. 4 minus 2. That would be 2. And 7 plus 0 is 7. Okay. So simplify that. I will get 2 divided by 2. That's 1. And 7 divided by 2, you can leave it as 7 over 2 as it is because you don't want to simplify because it can't really simplify it nicely. But 7 over 2 is like half of $7. That's $3.50, isn't it? So 3.5. So if you like, you can write 1 and 3.5. Because 3.5 is a lot easier if we have to plot it on the number plane instead of 7 over 2. It's a bit tricky to find on the number plane. But if it's a 3.5, it's easy to read. So it's either 1 and 7 over 2 or 1 and 3.5 is my midpoint. This is an extra question. Well, let's have a look. Same thing. There's no graph to look at. We are going to use the formula. And I didn't put formula there because I want you to understand how to find the midpoint without using formula as such, but just from your understanding. So we have to halve it because it's midway, dividing by 2. X coordinates. What are my x coordinates here? 0 and 10 is my x coordinates from each point. And what is my y coordinate? It's 2 and 4. 2 and 4. So just remember, x coordinates are the first number and the point, and the y coordinate is the second. Let's tie this one up a bit. 10 over 2, because 0 plus 10 is 10. And 2 plus 4 is 6 over 2. Okay, now you can see it's going to be nicely halved. Okay, I won't get any decimal number here. So half of 10 is 5. Half of 6 is 3. So midpoint is the point 5 and 3. That's all for today's lesson. Well done, people, and thank you.